Happening now, a Cattaraugus bank has moved into Chautauqua County. We speak to them about the new change. And the city of Dunkirk is preparing for better weather as we take a sneak peek into multiple events planned for the summer months. Plus, we look into a local initiative to better high school athletes and their teams.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Bronson Rasmussen in for Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, a Forestville man has been charged for selling a stolen assault rifle. In mid-March, investigators with the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office arrested 24-year-old Franklin J. Silvagia in the town of Sheridan for knowingly having possession of a stolen firearm and selling it to another individual. Now police arrested him and later recovered the AR-15 in a narcotics search warrant. Now he is expected to answer for the charges in the town of Sheridan court at a different date. A Celeron woman was arrested for breaking into a house Thursday morning. Officers with the town of Ellicott Police responded to a call on Woodworth Avenue around 7:30 Thursday morning, where an unwanted woman allegedly broke into a residence. During their investigation, officers discovered the woman, 24-year-old Sierra Rochelle from Celeron, New York, had broken a window and entered the house without permission. She was then taken into custody. Officers then released Rochelle with an appearance ticket. An Irving man was charged following an altercation involving booze and minors early Sunday morning. Chautauqua County Sheriff's deputies responded to a report altercation in Irving, New York at around 1 a.m. Upon arrival, officers found 35-year-old Jamar Fountain, who had allegedly driven a vehicle while intoxicated just prior to the incident. Officers also noticed that several minors under the age of 16 were also in the vehicle while Fountain was driving. Now he was arrested for a slew of charges, including aggravated felony DWI, Leandra's Law, and DWI. He was released with tickets to appear in the town of Hanover at a later date. Well, a long-standing bank cut the ribbon on a freshly remodeled brick and mortar location in Chautauqua County this week. Our Justin Gould reports on what the investment means for our community.
How many? One more.
The true community bank can really never be stronger than the communities that it's a part of. And so we feel like having a physical presence, as much more challenging in some ways and expensive in other ways as it is to do it, is still an important part.
Thursday's grand opening is part of a rebranding initiative at Cattaraugus County Bank.
The visible parts of that are things like a new logo. We have a new motto or tagline, if you will, but it isn't just words. There's a lot of meaning to it. CCB, where community counts.
In addition to traditional services, financial experts also aim to help small businesses too.
We've got a pretty good contingent of commercial relationship managers, folks whose job it is to build and gain new relationships with businesses in the community, help to grow them.
With many institutions nationwide consolidating brick and mortar operations, CCB is investing in a hybrid model.
We want to be able for you to deposit a check with your phone on Saturday evening if you want to, but if on Monday morning you want to come talk with us about a project you'd like to do or whatever it might be, we want to be here for that and know you and be able to sit down and talk about it.
Justin Gould, WNY News Now.
Justin, thank you. CCB operates 7 locations across western New York, including 2 branches in Chautauqua County. Now the city of Dunkirk is gearing up for its usual large number of summer festivals, but organizers are also trying some new events this season. Officials held a press conference on Thursday to announce their ever-growing list of activities available to the public and to invite community members to visit the lakefront in the upcoming summer months. In addition to the usual events such as summer concert series and the beloved Memorial Day Parade, the city will also be hosting an amateur boxing competition on the pier, as well as a 3-on-3 basketball tournament on Central Avenue. Now these activities will begin in June with the Fired Up for Summer kickoff run through early September.
That brings so much tourism and so many people from outside the area, as well as the people that live here in the Dunkirk and the surrounding area, that come and enjoy the beautiful events that we have here at Memorial Park and on the pier. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be a real exciting summer with all our events. It's going to be a real exciting summer as we reimagine what Dunkirk will be in the future with all this development.
Now a full schedule of events can be found through our web story at WNYNewsNow.com. And speaking of the nice weather, we'll get a first look of our weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Andrew Stevenson. And Andrew, it really is looking nice out there, but you're telling me bad news, aren't you?
Yeah, it might feel like summer today. The S word is coming back again next week, but we have a couple of days before we get there. Right now, live look over Chautauqua Lake, mainly sunny skies out there, beautiful day out there. Surprised we haven't seen any boats out there. It would be a nice day to take your boat out there, warm out there and beautiful sunshine. As I mentioned yesterday, the National Weather Service and State College has once again put out a special weather statement for northwestern Pennsylvania concerning an elevated fire risk with humidity levels between 20 and 30%, wind gusts around 20 to 25 miles per hour. There's an elevated fire risk, and they recommend using caution if you're using ignition sources such as cigars and matches, and avoid any outdoor burn-in, as any spark can start a fire, and with these dry conditions out there, it could spread rather quickly. So just keep an eye on that across the area. We made it to a high yesterday of 76 degrees. The low was 39. Our average for this time of year should be about 60 degrees for the average high and the average low of 36. And our records for today, 87. Set back in 1954, and a record low of 17 set back in 1981. So here's the forecast for the rest of the afternoon out there. Partly cloudy skies. An isolated shower or thunderstorm is possible this afternoon, mainly after 4 p.m. High temperatures today will range from near 70 at the Lake Erie shoreline to the lower 80s inland away from the lake. I'll have a look at that full forecast details, including some stronger thunderstorms possible later today, coming up in the full forecast in a few minutes.
All right, Andrew, we'll see you then. As WNY News Now continues, we look at the U.S. House of Representatives, where a bill that would ban transgender women and girls from competing in school sports passed. And later, with April 20th past us, many in PA are asking, when will Mary Jane be legalized? Stay with us, as WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Caitlin Armstrong.
Land has been quite the experience.
Local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Macker mites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
The U.S. House of Representatives passed legislation that would ban transgender women and girls from competing in female school sports. Republicans are calling this a win for women's rights, but opponents say this legislation targets people and is discriminatory. The bill, called the Protection of Women's and Girls in Sports Act, passed on a 219 to 203 vote. The legislation would amend Title IX to prohibit schools that receive federal funding from allowing people, and quoting from the legislation, whose sex is male, end quote, to participate in sports designated for women or girls. The bill defines sex as based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. Representatives Claudia Tenney and Nick Langworthy both voted yes on this legislation. Tenney, who represents parts of Western New York, was one of the co-sponsors of this legislation. In a press release following the vote, she said, part quote, "The Biden administration is allowing, even encouraging, biological men to participate in women's sports. This is fundamentally unfair and diminishes equal opportunities for women in athletics, which we fought for decades to achieve," end quote. The legislation is getting pushback from Democrats, saying this is the latest attempt by Republicans to intensify culture wars and transgender rights in America. But Republicans see this as a win for women's rights.
House Republicans are standing up for people who just believe in basic fairness. And today's vote should have been a unanimous vote. Yet, regardless of what political games people play up here, when people go back home and they're in their schools, they're competing, they just want to compete on a level playing field.
Let's not kid ourselves that the very intent is to harm and stigmatize, isolate, make them pariahs, and this is simply wrong.
Even though this passed the Republican-controlled House, the legislation has no chance in the slim Democratic majority-controlled Senate. Some advocates and lawmakers are pushing for further increases to New York's minimum wage. Our state capitol correspondent Elise Klein breaks down what this issue looks like in budget negotiations right now.
While the budget continues into overtime, some lawmakers and minimum wage workers advocate to raise the minimum wage to $21.25. Lilith Clacken, a home care worker of more than 15 years, says taking care of others is her passion, but she says an increase in the minimum wage is essential and necessary so she and others can pay their bills.
The hard work that we do for others, I think we really should be compensated. It's necessary. For us to live a decent life and to live with dignity, it is necessary.
For Jose Hernandez, home care workers are essential for his everyday life. Hernandez was paralyzed at the age of 15 and is now a quadriplegic, unable to walk, stand, or perform other everyday activities by himself. He says his home care workers have allowed him to go to school, get a job, and live independently.
Without my home care workers, I would not be able to do anything productive. I would be living in a nursing home.
Governor Kathy Hochul's budget plan proposes indexing the minimum wage. Lawmakers are currently negotiating this issue. Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins says the Senate and the Assembly are talking about raising the starting point first and then plan to discuss indexing. Some lawmakers are hoping to get the starting point to $21.25 for all minimum wage workers, including home health care.
We have an 80,000 worker shortage right now for home health care workers in New York City because we don't pay them enough. And that's what we need to change right now.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Elise, thank you. April 20th, or 420, is a day celebrated by many cannabis advocates each year. Advocates say the day highlights nationwide efforts to promote responsible adult cannabis use for recreational and medical purposes. In Pennsylvania, marijuana is only legal for medical use. Many advocates, Democrats, and even some Republican state lawmakers have been trying to change that. Now advocates say it's only a matter of time before Pennsylvania follows the more than 20 states who have already legalized, but some Republicans are still skeptical.
I would rather see healthy families, healthy kids, that are not utilizing a substance that leads to, and we know that it tends to lead to other harder drugs.
And they absolutely know there is no causal connection between cannabis use and moving on to hard drug use, but it's so easy just to throw that out there. The opposition tends to pretend that Pennsylvanians aren't already consuming cannabis. We're already doing this.
Now, more details on the current legislation can be found on our website at WNYNewsNow.com. SpaceX's Starship spacecraft successfully lifted off Thursday, but it really didn't get that far. Starship, the most powerful rocket ever built, took off from its coast of South Texas and kicked off its historic first test flight. The Super Heavy rocket booster, which houses 33 engines, sent a massive boom across the coastal landscape as it fired to life. It then soared out over the Gulf of Mexico, in which it exploded in midair. The spacecraft failed to separate from the rocket booster afterwards. SpaceX tweeted, quote, "With a test like this, success comes from what we learn, and today's test will help us improve Starship's reliability as SpaceX seeks to make life multiplanetary." This first test flight comes after years of explosive tests, regulatory hurdles, and public hyping from SpaceX's CEO, Elon Musk. Now, SpaceX believes Starship could be the rocket that returns astronauts to the moon and even one day take the first trip to Mars. While New Mexico prosecutors have announced they will dismiss charges against actor Alec Baldwin over the shooting on the Rust film set. Sources close to the investigation say there's evidence that the gun used in the shooting had been modified, which could have caused it to fire unexpectedly. Baldwin's attorney tells CNN that prosecutors in New Mexico plan to file a notice to dismiss the involuntary manslaughter charges against his client, but a special prosecutor says it is possible the dismissal of charges may only be temporarily pending further investigation. The film cinematographer was struck and killed by a live round of ammunition fired from a prop gun being held by Baldwin. The incident happened while rehearsing a scene in the set of Rust in 2021. Now, Baldwin has pled not guilty. A status hearing in the case is set for this afternoon, when prosecutors may reveal more information. The film's weapons handler, Hannah Reed, is now the sole defendant in the case, facing 18 months for involuntary manslaughter. Well, coming up, we show you our furry friends of the week, both looking for their forever home. And later, we have a look at a sportsmanship event that is bringing together youth athletes from different school districts. But first, we return with a look at our full weather forecast when WNY News Now returns.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Mackermites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we're under mostly sunny skies out there. 74 degrees is the current temperature at the Jamestown Airport with a south wind of 14 miles per hour. While the NOAA Storm Prediction Center has outlined much of the region, western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania, under a marginal risk for severe weather this afternoon. And let's take a look at what some of those thunderstorms could have with them. Strong winds are the main threat, over 58 miles per hour, but there's also a chance for a small touch of hail, and the timing for these thunderstorms will be between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. this evening. So what makes a regular thunderstorm severe? You need either hail that is 1 inch or larger in diameter or wind gust over 58 miles per hour, and that will be our main culprit today is strong winds. It's coming from a cold front that stalled out just to our west. High pressure keeps most of the east coast dry through the day, but that cold front is not going to cross our region until later tomorrow night. Until then, it's just going to slowly inch its way closer and closer to our region, and eventually a low pressure system is going to ride up that cold front. That's going to eventually move that cold front through the region tomorrow. So let's time it out on future scan for the rest of the afternoon out there. Partly cloudy skies. Again, maybe a chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm later this afternoon and evening, but the thunderstorm chances really die down after this evening, and then we're left with maybe some showers overnight, and then more showers, more widespread showers arrive to the region tomorrow as that cold front finally does inch across the region. And then behind the cold front, we'll be left with a few showers overnight Saturday and into Sunday, and there will remain quite unsettled Sunday and Monday and Tuesday as rain showers continue through those periods, maybe even some wet snow showers. So here it is on the extended forecast powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Temperatures today will get close to 80, back down into the 60s tomorrow, and then the cold front moves through and we're into the 40s. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, a chance for some showers each day, maybe even some wet snowflakes mixing in there, but we do dry it out by the middle of next week with temperatures returning back into the 50s by Wednesday and Thursday.
Alrighty, Andrew. I don't like to see it, but hopefully we'll get to summer one of these days. Well, now going to Justin's favorite segment, or should I really say Alyssa's favorite segment, as she was dying to get these cats in here today. But in an effort to help our animal friends find their forever home, we have partnered with the Chautauqua County Humane Society in a segment called the Pet of the Week. Joining us is Brian Papalea, as well as Alyssa Wright, to talk more about this week's featured furry friends. Well, how about you go for it?
They are right around 2 months old, give or take a week or two. They are currently in our foster program, and we believe are siblings, though I'm not entirely sure. And they are currently looking for homes.
No, they definitely just, I had Brian instantly take them out of the carrier when he got here. They definitely have very contrasting personalities from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, is this River or Rain?
You've got Rain, I've got
This
River.
This is Rain. Okay, Rain is definitely very curious, wants to play and explore. And
River's a little shyer.
Sleepy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they've been up to, because these two are fostered at my house. And my daughter has a lot that she does with them as far as enrichment and working with them, to be around people and all that kind of stuff, and kind of desensitize them to us, I guess. And
well, Alyssa, you can't exactly hear it, but there is a lot of purring going through my ear.
Oh no!
So you have found one that really likes pets, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Very happy.
And something I will say is we are on the cusp of kitten season, so if you are thinking about adopting a kitten, something I will say is if you do not have pets at home, and Alyssa's a cat expert, she can work with me on this one. I think it's better to get two.
Definitely.
They're social creatures. They need, a buddy to interact with and that sort of thing.
Henry, he's my older cat. As soon as I brought Ben home, he was like a whole new cat. He was a kitten again. So it's definitely very important to keep them socialized.
And it'll help you too because, they keep each other entertained and they're entertaining.
No, definitely.
Like we have 3 at home and 3 and a bunny who thinks he's a cat. And, everybody always has somebody to play with. It's always a good time. Something I would like to bring up real quick is tomorrow in Falconer at 1 Colson Drive, right across from Tops there, we do have a rabies, distemper, and microchip clinic. The rabies clinic is full, and you did have to pre-register for that. But the distemper clinic and or distemper and microchips are free, and you do not have to pre-register to do that. So we're inviting anybody that might need those services to stop on down. We'll be there from 10 to noon, and they can. It's the microchip. I can't. It's just very important to have those if you don't, because if your pet should get lost, those chips can be scanned and it helps get the pet back to the owner. So.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, Brian, thank you much. To learn more about River or Rain or other residents of the shelter, be sure to contact the Chautauqua County Humane Society at 716-665-2209 or visit chqhumane.org. And then next, the Sportsmanship Symposium is just a week away. We have details on the significance this holds for young athletes.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
No. Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Mackermites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Well, after-school sports are an important part of the high school experience, as it teaches core values such as communication and teamwork. However, some young athletes go above and beyond and off the field and are now using these skills to teach others the way of sportsmanship. Now, our Alyssa Wright is joining us at the news desk today with more on the Sponsorship Symposium. Alyssa?
Those with the Sportsmanship Symposium say that this is a great opportunity for up-and-coming athletic leaders to showcase their initiative and their drive for the betterment of themselves and their teammates.
No better, in my opinion, building ground, so to speak, than the competitive environment that is sports and high school sports, especially to kind of hone some of those skills that will take you well into your professional careers and also leverage you to be good family men and women. And
the symposium is meant to give students from all different backgrounds the chance to make meaningful connections with other athletes.
They come and they spend the whole day here with kids from other schools. We do a lot of cooperative games, we do discussions, and we have a chance for them to just kind of work together with kids from other schools. I think it's meaningful for the kids to come here, and hopefully they take back some of the positivity that they can use within their own schools and their programs.
The sportsmanship leaders recognize the impact that they could have on others and say they appreciate the opportunity.
I love this event. It's great to have the athletes from the county come in and just prevent the sportsmanships that we like to see here in Chautauqua County, especially with people knowing each other through social media nowadays. Everyone's seeing each other and seeing their names, but now to actually come together and meet them in person is something special.
For me and for us three standing here, like I said, we couldn't be more excited to take our knowledge and give back to young underclassmen and teach them to become up and new coming leaders like we are.
The 17th Annual Sportsmanship Symposium will be held on April 28th at the Northwest Arena. The day will see a slew of high school-age students who have great sportsmanship and leadership materials. Reporting in studio, Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
All right, Alyssa, thank you so much. But that is all the time we got for today. Remember to catch WNY News Now 24/7 on our mobile app and on channel 716. And we will leave you with this look over Lakeside Park. We'll hope you have a nice one. We'll see you next week.